What's going on YouTube? Today we got Michael Jordan feared him for a reason. Why? We about to get into it. But the last reaction will be at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. Without further introduction, man, let's get into it.
MJ with a post up. Backs his way.
So max quality, y'all. It's not me. Oh.
Turns it down, passes off.
Oh, bang out.
So where do we start? I would say let me take you back to the early years of Mitch Richmond's NBA career. When Mitch Richmond entered the NBA in 1988, he was no ordinary rookie. Performing on a high level right from the start, it did not take Mitch long to become one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. The combination of power, a nice touch from anywhere on the court, as well as a supreme post game made Richmond an almost unstoppable weapon. He was averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists in his rookie season and won the Rookie of the Year trophy. In his second season, his team was joined by Tim Hardaway, who turned out to be the perfect running mate for Richmond and Chris Mullin. Now forming the legendary Run TMC, Richmond would play for one of the most exciting teams in the NBA. And while Richmond was getting better and better, he would prove that he would not shy away from any competition. Even after Mitch got traded to the Sacramento Kings, where he not would have Chris Mullin and Tim Hardaway by his side, Richmond would take on the best shooting guards in the entire league. Guys like Clyde Drexler, Reggie Miller, and of course, Michael Jordan. And talking about Michael Jordan, this is exactly what we're going to take a look at in this video. When most players would lose the game against Jordan even before the game has started, Mitch would not only show up, but give Jordan a real battle. Not only would Mitch always keep Jordan pretty busy on defense, but he also would guard Jordan every single time both players were on the court. If we take a look at some of their matchups, you will see that Richmond not only held a zone against Jordan, but sometimes even played better than MJ. And yes, of course, Jordan teams would often win, but we have to remember that when Richmond was playing for the Sacramento Kings, he not exactly had the right help.
Playing him tough, giving him 23 while he gives you 33.
No, I'm talking about they would give him 30 and he didn't have the same numbers. Come on.
Really?
Now. Yes. There's people out there. And there were players that he did not want to see.
What?
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of guys that were afraid of Mike, but there were a few that he was afraid of too now.
Who?
Come on now.
Who else?
He did not want to see Mitch Richmond. I'm telling you that right now.
Come on, man.
Man, Mitch Richmond.
With all due respect
that big old head, he put that on Mike, swing it around. Mike was like, nah, I don't want to mess with that.
So why did Jordan fear Mitch Richmond? Well, fear is a very big word, especially in basketball. But there's no denying that Richmond was a player that Jordan really respected. And one of the reasons was that Richmond was one of the few guys that Jordan could not push around. Mitch was probably the only shooting guard who was stronger than MJ. This you could easily see when MJ was trying to post up on Richmond. He really had to work hard just to get a shot off. Another thing that I figured out is that Richmond was one of the few guys who could not only guard Jordan, but also score on Jordan. He had the energy and the willpower. Now let's take a look at some highlights of their rivalry.
The top prize at each year's trading deadline is Mitch Richmond. And yet once again, Mitch is still a king. Sacramento can't seem to find the right package for the league's number 3 scorer and an annual All-Star. Another great game within a game. Mitch versus Michael. Bulls and Kings next.
Shot and got put right back in his face.
Jordan backing Richmond. It's not often you see the two stars oppose each other on both ends. And that's the treat of tonight's ball game. Mitch Richmond and Michael Jordan.
A lot of time we talk about matchups and they never really occur. They just happen to be on the floor at the same time. But you're right, these two guys defend each other. Look at, here's Richmond with the long three. Nails it down.
Richmond cleared off a screen. Kukoc unable to help in time. Jordan on the block. Posting Richmond. Oh, the Dennis to Dennis.
Column in a starting lineup, but he makes sure that Dennis gets a nice easy hoop.
Richmond for 3.
That's another one.
Richmond, open court over Jordan.
No, they were saying the off the jab, the off balance shot. I
So
don't
now that
know.
we
I'm
looked
liking
at
his
the
game.
rivalry
I'm
between
liking his
Michael
game
Jordan
so
and
far.
Mitch Richmond, I think it would make sense to talk to the man himself. Mitch, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh,
Can't
shoot.
complain, man. Can't complain.
Oh, shoot.
No, Mitch, in this
My
episode,
boy
we were talking
Basketball
about your
Top
rivalry
shit
with
got-
Michael
got
Jordan. And the
connects
first
her,
question
too.
that I have is, do you actually remember the first NBA game you had against MJ?
Yeah, I think the first game I had against him was at Golden State. The first time I played against him, yeah, you know, it was a thrill. You know, you had to be prepared, just like any other guy that I prepared for in any game. But Michael was definitely different to prepare for.
Do you also remember how the game ended?
I'm pretty sure I think they beat us.
No, they didn't.
We won that game?
Yeah, you won by 10, and you had 27 on Jordan.
Okay, that was the that was when I was with the Warriors. But
Yes.
I had a lot of losses with Sacramento, so that's probably why that was. You know?
Yeah, that was still in the Run TMC era. So I had a question. I'm a basketball coach myself, and I was wondering, was it tougher for you to guard Jordan when you were still playing with the Warriors, because you guys were playing such an up-tempo basketball, which was so energetic, but obviously also causing a lot of energy. Was it tougher for you to play Jordan in that era, or was it tougher playing for the Kings when you didn't have the right supporting cast?
I think it was both. You know, he was such a unique player that you had to really kind of gear up for, do your homework on. You know, Michael had every move in the book, and I was a guy that I really liked watching film, and so every guy I went up against, I always watched the last game that they played before we played them. I know we do that in film session, but I would take that at home and really kind of study it. And I would just kind of study what Michael likes to do and what shoulder he likes to go off and what he does a lot more.
Why bro blinking so much? What the hell?
But
I'm sorry.
He has a go-to move, and so I just really tried to kind of focus on that when he had me on the post, or when he tried to drive, and it helped me in a ways. But he was still a unique player that, you know, 98% of the time he still got the ball.
Yeah, very true. But I think you're being very humble just now, because I know for a fact, I mean, I prepared for the interview and being a basketball historian, I know this kind of stuff. When you caught the ball on the block, Michael really had to use all of his energy, all of his power to contain you. And Jordan did not have to do that with many guys. So I think you are one of the few guys who made Jordan work on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question. I think, you know, I think I've learned that from a young age. I think the energy and the effort, I think if you put the energy and the effort and the time into it, you know, even
I'm not gonna cruise my boy though. Maybe he's been up a long time. Because I feel him. My eyes on the blink too, gang.
And girth. I mean, not girth, but I mean toughness. Pause. But play with that type of toughness. I think, you know, things will work out in your favor. So I've learned that at a young age, playing football, that you had to come with that type of energy. And with Michael, man, you had to use everything. I mean, you had to make him work on the offensive end, and because he's definitely going to make you work on the defensive end. So I always tried to match that, and just like I said, it wasn't just Michael. It was every guy that I went against, but Michael was definitely a unique talent.
When did you start to realize that Jordan really respected you? Because especially when, for the younger folks that are watching the show, Jordan was not a guy who was openly talking good about other players. Like, he was so competitive, he would never mention another guy being great. But with you, I saw 2 different interviews where he was praising you.
Right.
So when did you realize, okay, this guy actually likes my style?
Well, I know Michael, even though when I was in my first couple of years in the NBA, one of his best friends was Rod Higgins. Rod Higgins actually played on our team. And so, you know, in the summertime, sometimes we were probably just shooting around and do a little stuff in Fresno when Rod had his camps. We would hang out a little bit, but more so, I think he understood that I was gonna, you know, definitely play him hard and not back down. And I think he felt that in every possession, even if he scored on me, I was gonna be right back in his face, really trying to make him work. Because he had everything. And so, and I knew that he was going to do that for me. I knew he was going to do that on the other end. And I knew that I felt confident in my scoring against him just as well as he felt against me. But I wasn't going to be afraid. I wasn't going to be scared. You know, I was going to play my game because I put in the time and the hours of practicing all of those things. And it didn't matter if it was Michael or someone else. I put in the time and the effort in the gym to make those tough shots. And that's why I came up making tough shots. So, you know, that was my forte.
Yeah. Now, the last question before we talk about what you're doing currently. Now, Jordan was a guy who was known to trash talk his opponents, but I always had the feeling that he wouldn't do it to everybody.
Yeah.
He would choose the guys carefully who he would do it to. I'm just curious, did he ever try to trash talk you? Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you always seemed to me like a guy who would never, never
We're trying to get it out.
What do you call it?
Yeah.
The trap.
Right. We never trash talk to one another. You know, I've always felt like, I mean, you look back at my career, I always had a stone face.
Yes.
I didn't really interact with too many guys, only my teammates. And so me and Mike would shake hands and we wouldn't talk after that. I mean, we just went at each other very hard. Playing very physical. I can, remember the times when I first started playing against Michael, and Michael was so quick off the dribble. And one thing that helped me, that I tried to get as close as I possibly can to him, so I can put my body on him, to kind of wear him down a little bit. And then I think in the latter part of his career, he started lifting weights.
Yes.
And then he started, being on the block as much as possible. And then, he had the strength to kind of hold guys off. And so we had really tremendous battles in the post, just going at each other, just playing really physical basketball and really kind of competing. And I think he enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed it too. I knew when I had to go to Chicago, I had to get my rest and be prepared and be ready to play him.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Now, obviously, since your playing days are over, you kept yourself pretty busy with countless projects. What have you been up to recently?
Well, recently, man, I launched my digital asset company called PlanetRock.net, and I partnered with about 5 companies, and on the way of partnering with more in the digital space. And one of our projects that we're going to be starting off with is the Run TMC. We're going back in time, and we're bringing that to the forefront, and we're bringing that the new school Run TMC. So that's one of my projects that we're doing, and we're doing that in probably we're doing that with 3 or 4 different companies in different areas. So we're dealing with NFTs, memorabilia, digital twinning, a lot of other stuff, augmented reality. So it's a lot of great things that are happening that I've been really kind of busy and focusing my time and energy on. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting to see all the things that we accomplished. And now you can go back in time and turn it into a digital asset. And so that's what I'm doing. And I hope everybody like it, and just stay tuned. And you can follow me at, I think I'm on Mitch Rock Richmond at Instagram, and you can follow me at PlanetRock.net, and check us out, man. And I really appreciate that.
All right, you guys, you heard it first. You got to check it out right now. All right, you guys.
And that's the end of this one, y'all. W interview for my boy Basketball Time Machine. All links in the description. Appreciate y'all for watching, man. And I'm out here. Yeah. Make sure you click on that last reaction though. I'm bugging, I almost forgot. Word. Yeah, John, wow, I'm out for it.